The biggest difference between millionaires and everyone else isn't how much they earn. It's what they do the moment they get paid.
If I asked you to picture a millionaire, what comes to mind? Be honest. You'd probably imagine someone driving a Lamborghini, living in a huge mansion, wearing designer clothes, and posting luxury vacations all over social media. That's the picture most of us have been given. So we grow up believing that if someone is rich, they must look rich. But what if I told you that's not how most millionaires actually live? In fact, the average millionaire is probably someone you'd walk past without noticing. And once I understood this, it completely changed the way I thought about money. Years ago, researchers spent years studying thousands of millionaires. They wanted to answer one simple question: how do ordinary people actually become wealthy? They expected to find people living flashy lifestyles. Instead, they found something completely different. Many millionaires drove normal cars. Many lived in ordinary neighborhoods. Some had been in the same house for years, even though they could afford something much bigger. At first, I couldn't understand it. If they had all that money, why weren't they showing it? Then it hit me. Maybe we've been copying the wrong people. Because the people showing off the most money aren't always the people who have the most money. Think about your own life. Have you ever seen someone with the newest phone, expensive clothes, maybe even a nice car, and then a few days later they're saying, "I'm broke until payday"? Maybe you've even said that yourself. I know a lot of us have. The money comes in, you pay a few bills, you buy a few things because you've worked hard and you deserve them. Then somehow before the month ends, you're asking yourself, where did all my money go? If that has ever happened to you, I want you to know something. You're not alone. And it doesn't mean you're bad with money.
It usually means nobody ever taught you what wealthy people do differently. Most of us were taught one formula: go to school, get a good job, work hard, earn more money. And naturally, we assume that if we can just earn a bigger salary, our money problems will disappear. But here's something that surprised me. If earning more money was enough, then every high-income earner would eventually become wealthy. But that's not what happens. There are people earning six figures who are drowning in debt. And there are people earning average incomes who quietly become millionaires over time. So what's the difference? It isn't intelligence, it isn't luck, and it isn't always a bigger salary. The biggest difference is what happens after they get paid. Let me explain. Imagine it's payday. Your salary drops into your account. What's the very first thing your mind starts thinking about? Maybe it's that phone you've been wanting. Maybe it's clothes. Maybe it's eating out because you've had a stressful week. Or maybe it's simply catching up on all the bills waiting for you. None of those things are bad. The problem is that most people spend first and only save or invest if there's anything left. But wealthy people slowly learn to reverse that order. They don't wait to see what's left at the end of the month. They decide what they're going to keep before they decide what they're going to spend. It sounds like a small change, but that small change can completely change your financial future. And that's where most people unknowingly begin to separate themselves from future millionaires.
Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. So, are millionaires just people who never enjoy life? Not at all. They still travel, they still buy nice things, they still enjoy the money they've worked hard for. The difference is when they do it. Most people reward themselves first and think about their future later. Millionaires usually do the opposite. They take care of their future first, then enjoy what's left. That one shift may sound small, but over 10 or 20 years, it creates a completely different life. Here's another discovery that changed the way I think about money. Most people use money to buy things. Wealthy people use money to buy assets. What's the difference? A new phone makes your life more enjoyable, but it won't put money back into your pocket. An investment, a small business, a rental property, or even learning a valuable skill that helps you earn more.
Those are things that can continue creating value long after you've paid for them. This doesn't mean you should never buy nice things. It simply means that before asking, "What do I want to buy?" start asking, "What can I own today that will help me tomorrow?" That one question can change the way you spend money forever. And here's something else I found interesting. When researchers studied millionaires, many of them weren't celebrities. They weren't famous athletes. They weren't people who won the lottery.
A lot of them owned ordinary businesses. A plumbing company, a cleaning service, a small construction business, an accounting firm. Nothing flashy. They simply solved real problems for other people. That's another lesson we don't hear enough. Money follows value. The more value you create, the more opportunities you have to earn. You don't have to invent the next big app. Sometimes doing an ordinary job exceptionally well is enough to build wealth over time. Now, let me ask you another question. If your salary doubled tomorrow, would your savings double too? Or would your spending double first? Be honest with yourself, because this is where many people get trapped. Every time they earn more, they immediately find a new way to spend more. A better car, a bigger apartment, a more expensive lifestyle. Before long, the extra income has disappeared, and they're still saying, "I need to earn more." The truth is, sometimes the problem isn't that we don't earn enough. Sometimes the problem is that our spending grows just as fast as our income. That's like trying to fill a bucket that has a hole in the bottom. No matter how much water you pour in, it never stays full. Instead of asking, "How can I earn more?" also ask, "How can I keep more of what I already earn?" That question is just as powerful. If you're finding this helpful, make sure you subscribe. Every week, we break down money in a simple way so you can avoid expensive mistakes and build better financial habits one step at a time. Because the goal isn't to look rich, the goal is to become financially free. And those are two very different things. So if you've been listening this far, you might be wondering, where do I even start? The good news is that you don't need to become a millionaire overnight. In fact, almost nobody does. You just need to start making the kinds of decisions that millionaires make. Here's what I'd challenge you to do this week. First, the next time you get paid, don't wait until the end of the month to save or invest. Even if it's a small amount, put something aside first. Not because the amount is huge, but because you're building a habit. And habits are what change lives. Second, before you buy something, ask yourself one simple question. Will this make me look richer, or will it actually help me become richer? That's one question I've started asking myself more often, and it's surprising how many unnecessary purchases it can stop. Third, start thinking about ownership instead of just consumption. Instead of spending all your time and money buying things, ask yourself, what can I own? It could be an investment. It could be learning a skill that increases your income. It could even be starting a small side business. The point is to begin building things that have the potential to grow. Because wealth isn't just about what you earn. It's about what you build. And before we end this video, I want to leave you with one final thought. Imagine two people. One spends 10 years trying to convince everyone they're rich. The other spends 10 years quietly becoming rich. At the beginning, the first person looks more successful. But 10 years later, the second person has something much more valuable. Peace of mind, choices, freedom. That's what money should give you, not pressure to impress people. The truth is,
most millionaires didn't become wealthy because they were the smartest people in the room.
They became wealthy because they made small, consistent decisions that most people ignored. They didn't try to look rich. They focused on becoming financially secure. And the amazing thing is, those same habits are available to almost everyone. You don't have to be born into wealth. You don't have to win the lottery. You don't have to become famous. You simply have to start making better decisions with the money that passes through your hands. Because at the end of the day, building wealth isn't about one lucky moment. It's about hundreds of ordinary decisions that slowly create an extraordinary future. Now, I'd really love to hear from you. Out of everything we talked about today, which habit do you think is holding you back the most? Is it A, spending everything you earn, B, buying things to impress other people, C, not investing because you think you need a lot of money to start, or D, you honestly don't know where your money goes each month? Comment A, B, C, or D below. And if your answer isn't on the list, tell me what it is. I read the comments, and your story might encourage someone else who's trying to improve their finances too. If this video changed the way you think about money, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more practical, research-backed finance content that's easy to understand. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.